Over the past few weeks, people have been absolutely bullying World of T-Shirts by sending TTS donations while he streams with Mr. Based, and it's led to some very interesting content from Josh. And there are some things that have happened where Josh has definitely been at fault. For example, when he used the N-word and then got chased by people with knives, because you don't, that's just not a thing that you do. You just straight up don't do that. And we all know that you shouldn't do that, but Josh apparently does not, which is unfortunate to see and think about. Now, the problem I have with what's going on is that Mr. Bass basically knows that the only way he's going to make money is when Josh goes wild. So he's encouraging Josh to drink, he's encouraging Josh to do all of these things, and he's doing the TTS at a price point where people will still spend $10 to $15 to $20 because it leads to the content of Josh just being an absolute menace to society. Now, he has never had any serious long-term consequences for any of the actions that he's done. He's continuing to gain followers up to almost 3 million, possibly even over 3 million by the time this video goes live. I haven't checked in about 3 weeks. Almost 3 million, potentially over 3 million followers, about 1 million followers away from where Boogie2988 was at his peak. And Josh, he drinks, he acts wild, he goes around saying slurs, he's very, very frequently says the N-word. He'll tell people that he's not poor, but then he'll also go back to saying I only make $60K a year, which is $5,000 a month, which is actually, for a person who does not pay for housing, who does not pay for utilities, and who really only pays to go on international trips and for Ubers and train rides between Long Island and New York City, is like a really good salary. He could move to another location and live on $60,000 a year. It seems he loves New York City. I think that's really cool. If you have a place you love and you can afford to live there, I think that's awesome. And we've seen his obsession with New York City pretty much since 2020, 2021, with the New York thing, with the Times Square stuff, with always going there, always wandering around. It was nice when he was just wandering around. But then when he started drinking, it got to the point where there wasn't healthy stuff happening. And that's something that's got to be worked on with Josh. Because if he continues to drink, long-term consequences are going to happen. And I don't know what those long-term consequences are going to be, considering he got drunk and jumped in the Hudson of his own free will, and nothing happened to him other than the fire department rescuing him. Thankfully, he lives in America, where we don't send you bills for frivolous use of the fire department. Now, yeah, if you fall off a bridge into the Hudson, anything, like you fall off a boat into the Hudson, fire department should come rescue you, Coast Guard should come rescue you. But if you jump in of your own free will, you should pay for that. Because, like, what? And then now, the thing that I find interesting is that he thinks he's poor, but he also thinks he's middle class. But he calls people an unemployed rat despite not having a job. He makes TikTok videos, he streams, yeah, that's technically potential income, but it's not really a source of long-term employment. I do believe eventually the social media money will dry up for him through a bunch of different things happening, which is just the way it is for everybody. If you have social media and you make money off it, eventually it stops. I made a couple thousand off 68 million views on TikTok in 2021, about 1,000 in 22, and then about 1,000 last year, and I think I've made $100 this year. But that's also because while I may not have an actual job right now, I am in college, and it's my last semester of my 4th year, meaning that I need to really buckle down and focus on that during the times when I can. I'm taking a break, making some videos right now, but I understand that, like, this isn't the forefront, this isn't what I have to do the most of. What I have to do is go and do the schoolwork. I'm about 2 weeks ahead right now. That allows me to get ahead on some of the social media stuff. Allows me to spend time watching the Mariners, watching the Bills. Like, I'll actually be able to stay up and watch Sunday Night Football tomorrow. I'm excited to see what happens with that. But with Josh, what it seems happens is he goes on Cameo. He gets 50, 100 cameos at once. I can actually check and see because there's a Cameo ranking system which tells you how many cameos, and you get 1 point for each cameo that you complete. So I have 11 points for this month because I did fantasy football drafts. Josh had 192 when I last looked. I'm going to go ahead and look now. I'm sorry, I have 17 points. But that's good for 6,007. Oh no, I've completed 17 in a row. So James Buchanan at 2,300. The Costco guys at 1,000. Nigel Farage. So actually, Josh is no longer in the top 5. Looks like a lot of people started getting more points. I'm in the top 99% of Cameo, but like I said, it's not the highest. Now, Josh was on like 192, and I'm looking through right now to see where he is. Connor Stallion, Joseph Gates. Like, So right now, Antonio Brown is 78th. Did he get banned? I thought Trump was on there, but it's a parody of him. So, okay, Josh has fallen out of the top 100, so I'm gonna look for him. Joshua Block, aka World of T-Shirts. Average of 2.47 review. Average video length is 7 seconds. Last video completed today at 1:08 p.m. You can chat with him for $5. Recent, the AI summary. A terrible cameo as always, but the most recent one. Okay, hold on. He got a 1-star today.
Happy birthday.
That got a 1-star. So it's just, hi Nick, happy birthday. Which, honestly, that may have been somebody trying to bait him into saying a slur, but still. He's got a 5-star review from yesterday, a 3-star, a terrible cameo as always by the captain, but it was exactly what I expected. Don't expect him to say what you ask, because he won't. Dude, you didn't even say happy birthday. Somebody put a 4-star review. Left a little bit out looking at the other reviews. I got lucky. He pronounced his name wrong. Some of these ones, it's like, why do people keep paying him? But then it's also because you realize that people want the attention from him, and then they can get the attention from people like me or others reading the reviews of him. But it's like $35 is a lot of money. Let's say, for example, $35 for me right now. What can I do with $35? Well, it's $25 for a week of bus pass. That leaves me $10 to do whatever. Let's say yes, $50, which is his regular price, and it's not on sale. $50, that's 2 weeks of bus pass, half a month. Or that's food for a week-ish, depending on how much I eat at school versus not at school. Food for 5 to 7 days, depending on what I eat, how much I eat. Not worth getting a cameo from Josh. But I always find it interesting that it seems like the more he's exposed to people, from cameos, from streaming, from TTS, the more likely it is he's going to do something wild, and that's probably from the autism. But then he's also a drunk. He has alcohol use disorder. Now, I'm not a doctor, but I feel fairly confident that everybody can say he has alcohol use disorder, but I am not diagnosing him with it. I'm just going from my experience. So the alcohol combined with his very likely difficulty in social situations because of autism, not even very likely, guaranteed, makes it so that he does stupid stuff like this every other 5 minutes. He flipped out at Coney Island yesterday. He threatens to kill people, which is probably from anger. He's probably an angry drunk. It's gotten to the point with him where unless he wants help, there isn't going to be help. And help for him means going to a rehab facility, never drinking again, and then likely realizing that he probably never can live on his own and finding a way to get into a group home where he can go there, he can have some sort of part-time job or potentially go on disability, where he has some income, some insurance from the government potentially, as like Medicare, Medicaid, whichever one they end up putting him on. Because I know if you get disabled, there's a potential you can go on disability, there's a potential that you can go on Medicare immediately. But making $60,000 a year in New York as a single individual is actually too much money to qualify for Medicaid. If he made half that, he'd qualify for Medicaid, which is why Mayor Flanagan had to pay for the visit to the urgent care when he had all of that stuff all over him. I would have been so angry. Now, yeah, I know I'm like 600 miles away from New York City, but close enough that he can get here in a day, and people who in contact with him can get here in a day. And I go to a school with 35,000 students. I don't want to be part of an Mpox outbreak. I would have been so angry. I mean, I'm pretty sure Haiti, the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, France, Spain, all of those countries are mad at him. The one trip that I thought was cool was Paris because he enjoys Paris. Thought that was cool the first day. After that, he just wanders around drunk in a new city. That's all he does when he goes on vacation. Wanders around drunk in a new city and gets into fewer altercations, except for when he went to Iceland, which was weird. The one that's really dumb is put the fries in the bag, because he started it. Him and Based went to a place and said, "Hey, let me tell you to put the fries in the bag," and then they did that, and now everybody says to him to put the fries in the bag, and it's like, you brought this on yourself, Josh. It's like how everybody a couple years ago, when I made what was a satirical video about not believing in Australia, would comment about Australia. I did that to myself. Like, I was like, yep, Australia's not real, but I leaned into it and used it to help generate the 68 million views. If Josh would lean into some of the stuff and use less N-words, preferably no N-words, well, I guess he can call people nincompoops, but if he would stop using the N-word and just lean into this persona, he could make $200K a year, $300K a year. Maybe make it. Maybe find a way that he's like, your Cameo is gonna suck. It's not gonna be good. And that way, you want to get a bad one. Because the good ones are like, oh, I don't like that. He could create a character, which is what people are basically turning him into. But no, honestly, he should go to a group home, go to rehab, stop drinking alcohol, and he should put the fries in the bag.